if you're going to reuse the oil for later for a different thing, or you're
well,
going to use it to...
if you were unlike me and kept it nice and clean without getting bits of onion and potato in it, you probably could. But as soon as you heat this again, you're going to cook whatever residue's in there.
Right.
So we're going to use that oil just to reheat the omelette and colour it, and I'll show you that. That's the final stage. But what we've got to do is we've got to let the mixture cool. Because if we put that now, we've got to put that into the hot eggs. If we put into the cold eggs, if we put that into the cold eggs now, the eggs will start to cook and you'll get some half-formed scrambled egg. So we'll let that just sit there and cook. And again, look, you can see the potatoes are cooked. They're not coloured, which is, again, people don't believe when you say you've literally boiled them in oil. But you've got now the flavour, the difference in it. And again, I can't steer you away from those recipes that say boil the potatoes first and then fry it with the olive oil and eggs afterwards. That isn't it, okay? Another question that was asked to me while we were cooking this by Bobby, I'm going to put him on the spotlight again. Could I add anything else to this? Now, Bobby being from Texas, I think he's from Texas, he lives here, said, can I put some jalapenos in and all the other kinds of stuff? And the answer is no. According to me, you can't, because that's a Spanish omelette. It's been made that way for X amount of years. They're the ingredients. So if you're going to make a traditional Spanish omelette, that's it. And again, before everyone from Spain jumps onto me and says that's not the way you do it, I said to you before about Caribbean cooking. In fact, any form of cooking, it's all, whatever you do is going to be wrong. But this I watched made in southern Spain, and I wish I remember the name of the lovely lady who showed it to me, but and it's about 20 years ago. So that's how they made it, and I followed it, and I don't change it, don't mess about with it, because that's their recipe. The same as when I do Malaysian cooking, and I take that from my Malaysian cooking mentor, Mr. Stephen Chang. I wouldn't dare mess with his recipes. One, because he'd probably get on a plane and kill me, and two, that's how it was handed down to him from his, through his family and his father and so on. And as I say to everybody, you can do anything with anything. Yeah, you can put anything you like with that if you really wanted to, but don't call it a Spanish omelette. And I'm a great believer in certain dishes you just don't mess around with, and this to me is one of them. So we'll let that mixture cool. We'll put it with the egg mixture, and then I'll show you how you can you then finish the dish off. Okay, the next stage is to take the potato mixture, potato and onion mixture, add it to the eggs, and just mix that around so that the eggs now coat the potatoes. And you can see that the potatoes are mashing up nicely. I've added a little salt and pepper to the eggs. Now we take the pan, we don't wash it, we just wipe it. So I'm just going to wipe the excess potato out, and then I'm going to take a spoonful of that oil that lovely olive oil that we've cooked in the first place. So I'll take a spoon here. That should be enough. I heat that gently, but let me just finish this off. I just pour that in. Now, what we're doing now is we're just going to fry that in the oil, just to give it some colour. Take a plate, turn it over, slide it back in the other side and cook it again, hopefully. Now, usually at this point things can go terribly wrong and it ends up on the floor because I missed the plate. But the theory is that we just take that, tip it on a plate, slide it back in and cook the other side. Takes about, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes to cook. You can see the egg mixture's cooking already. So we'll let that cook, and we'll come back to you in a few minutes when we need to flip it over. Okay, so this is the moment of truth for me, whether I completely screw this thing up or not. And I go over to the sink and do this because I think it's just me that I end up putting it on the floor. Certainly my first couple ended up on the floor. So, oh, there you go, you see that? Okay. Back in. Oh, I lost a bit of potato, okay. Sorry about that one.
Give it a low carb.
Yeah, below the carb content. Very good, Chris. Yeah. By about 1 zillionth of a carb. So that's how it looks. That's how you serve it. You can see it looks beautiful, okay? I could have browned it a bit more maybe, so for all the Spanish people that jump on this and say I've done it wrong, apologies. But it's okay, it's cooked. We're going to cook the other side now. Actually, I'm going to cook the other side longer, flip it over, so you're not even going to know. Alright, so ignore that last comment, because by the time I flipped it over, you'll think I've cooked it on that side first. So that just cooks, again, 5 minutes. And we'll come back and we'll serve it and we'll show you the final dish. Okay, so there it is, the finished product, the Spanish tortilla, Spanish omelette. What we do now is don't eat it now, okay, because should be eaten room temperature or even cold. And I love to, you might hear my kids in the background, I mean they love this stuff, especially my 10-month-old little Louis, who's just starting his solid food, and he just grabs slices of this omelette, stuffs it in his face and laughs. Now whether he's laughing at my cooking or actually he enjoys it so much, I don't know, he'll tell me later. But if you let it go cold, and that's a small omelette, 4 eggs, 4 potatoes. You can, as I was telling the guys just a minute ago, I made a huge one not so long ago, and you know, at a little dinner party, the thing got demolished, and we were just chatting actually about simple foods, and Chris here, who's doing all the writing for this, has basically said, you know, it's such a simple dish, you've just got eggs, potatoes and onions, and yeah, to me that's the secret of all good food. It's simple, the more simple the better. So that we let cool. We're going to cover it up because we've got flies all over the place, as it's summer in Texas. And then we're going to move on and cook the chicken casserole. So room temperature at best. Now actually the other, if ever any of you are familiar with the Spanish concept of tapas, then this is one of the great little tapas that they use when you basically go out and have a little drink, of course, as we all like to do. They'll cut a very small slice of this, you know, a piece of bread, and you'll eat it. And originally the word, I think the translation is cover. They used to cover the glass with a piece of stale bread, and the bread would stop the flies from getting into the drink. And ultimately somebody woke up and thought, hold on a minute, there's a whole concept of food here. And it's a brilliant, again, if you're low carbing, you can have some fantastic Spanish tapas, because you've got the spicy sausages, you've got fish, shrimp, and you can, okay, eat this sparingly. So again, we know that has 80 grams of carbs in it. Cut it in half, there's your 40. Cut it into quarters and so on, and then you can regulate your carb intake. And even if you actually, for me, if I said, right, all I'm going to eat today, of course, you know, I'm going to have a nice big steak this evening. In fact, I'll ignore that because I won't be able to eat it. If I sat there and just ate that in a day, that's my carb intake for one day. And who would believe you could do that on a low carb diet? Okay, so there it is, Spanish tortilla. Let it cool down and we'll give some to the guys. They can tell you on camera what they think. So I'm just going to cut this in half down the middle. And I'm going to cut it again. Then I'm going to give a taste to Chris and Bobby here, who are helping put this together. There you go, you can't see him, he's got it in his hand. Bobby over there, we can actually, let's film Bobby in his first reaction of the taste. There you go. Tell me that tastes nice. If you don't, you'll have to leave it immediately, of course.
That's good.
And he does have to say that, of course, but
no,
you might be able to tell from his expression he's slightly genuine. How is it? What would you like to use?
We'll do a big hash brown.
A big hash brown. So to all my Spanish viewers out there, your creation, wonderful creation of a Spanish omelette has now been turned into a big hash brown. So is it a tasty hash brown?
Yes, very good.
There you go. So, okay, there's the omelette.